guys, I believe we are live. This is Killian here with the Questionable Perspective, and today we're going to be talking about how Bernie Sanders can more efficiently and effectively rebuke Pete Buttigieg's inclusivity argument, which is based on a throne of lies. So first of all, we're going to watch a video of an exchange where Bernie Sanders calls up Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg replies, but there's not really time for Bernie to respond because they go on to the next question. Then we're going to look at how Bernie responds to Chris Wallace asking him about the same argument that the inclusivity argument that Pete Buttigieg made. So let's watch that here quickly. Let me pull that up for you guys. So we'll watch the debate first, and then we will watch the Chris Wallace, and then we'll come back and discuss.
Unlike some of the folks up here, I don't have 40 billionaires, Pete, contributing to my campaign, coming from the pharmaceutical industry, coming from Wall Street and all the big money interests. What we do have is we have now over 6 million contributions from 1.5 million people, averaging $18.50 a contribution. That is unprecedented in the history of American politics. If we want to change America, you're not going to do it by electing candidates who are going out to rich people's homes begging for money. The way we're going to do it is build a mass movement of working people who are prepared to stand up, not take money from these billionaires, not take money from Wall Street, but stand up to the drug companies in Wall Street. And if you want to be part of that political revolution, BernieSanders.com.
Mayor Buttigieg, close this round out.
We are going into the fight of our lives. Donald Trump, according to news reports, and his allies raised $25 million today. We need to go into that fight with everything that we've got. Now, I've been very clear on both my record, where I have sued pharmaceutical companies, and what I'm campaigning for, that includes raising wages and raising taxes on corporations and the wealthy. And as the only person on this stage who is not a millionaire or a billionaire, I know a thing or two about building a movement, because mayor of South Bend, Indiana is not exactly an establishment fundraising powerhouse. We are here without the involvement of any corporate PACs, because hundreds of thousands of people went to, yes, PeteForAmerica.com, contributed to this campaign. And let me say something else. If we want to bring about any of the changes that everyone is talking about so elegantly up here, we need to put together the majority that can decisively defeat Donald Trump. And in order to do that, we need a politics that is defined not by who we reject, but how we bring everybody into the fold. And if you are low income, or if you're able to contribute a lot, if you've always voted Democrat, or if you're an independent or even a Republican.
Okay, now we're going to watch the Chris Wallace clip here.
Pete Buttigieg, not to take his side in this argument, just to state what his argument is, he says, look, I put out my platform. I'm going to work for working and middle class people. If billionaires want to support me, support what I stand for, what's wrong with that?
But Chris, do you or anybody else in America really believe that if the CEOs of the pharmaceutical industry are making significant contributions to a campaign, that they don't know what they are doing? Look, let me be very honest with you. In my view, the drug companies are not only extraordinarily greedy in charging us, in some cases, 10 times more.
Okay, so essentially here, a few things need to be discussed. So Bernie does a great job of in the debate of attacking Pete by name, which I like that aggressiveness from him. But and then he also goes on to say the begging. When he says begging, I think that's really good. I think that comes kind of down to the point that I'm going to make here is you got to say that this is different, that you are begging these people, that you are courting them. And then within that, though, I wish he would have been even more forceful, but I can't be nitpicky, but I wish he would have been more forceful and said Pete again by name to re-emphasize and reiterate what was going on. So I want to talk about so then when we go to the Chris Wallace video, I think Bernie a lot of the time gets too stuck on his stump speech and stuff like that, and doesn't attack the problems head on and as precisely, concisely, and swiftly as he could. So how I would have handled this, and how if Bernie would have had time to respond in the debate for a follow-up, and how he should respond moving forward, is that he should come out with a couple points here. So number one, this idea that Pete Buttigieg puts forth that he needs all this money and that Donald Trump is raising all this money. Well, guess what, Pete? You raised $25 million with these billionaire donors in 3 quarters. I raised $25 million in 1 month, and every other quarter I was beating you except for maybe one. So that needs to be put to rest, because how you build a movement is you energize the base, so you don't need to grovel to, that's because what it is, it's groveling, begging to these billionaires. So you point out that I have this 25 million and that your point is moot, that your point is effectively dead, because I am the one with the grassroots movement, and if I'm the one who's building the movement, then you should get out of my way, because I have the movement to beat Trump without having to capitulate to these donors. Then even before that, though, you point out to Pete Buttigieg, you point out another point, is that if you are for Citizens United, or like against Citizens United, or for repealing it as you claim to be, then you can obviously, the internal logic in wanting to repeal Citizens United is the corruption and the conflict of interest that you've even pointed out previously in previous documents or in previous articles. So you point out to Pete Buttigieg that you cannot simultaneously and logically, coherently be for repealing Citizens United and also be for these donors coming at you for money. And then you have to point out that there's a difference between courting the donors and just going and just getting these donations, because it's one thing to get the donations, and that's more debatable, and I'm not even for that, and Bernie's not for that, but it's but now you make the attack against him, that you say you are not just allowing these donors to come to you, you are courting them in wine caves, you are giving them undue influence. Do you have time to sit down with all of your regular working class donors and sit down in wine caves with them? And the amount of money that these people that are going to be giving you, as Bernie points out, is going to influence them. I mean, that's the logic in Citizens United. That's the logic that anybody who watches politics understands. And I think so, and you need to point this out. And I think another thing that needs to be realized with the Citizens United thing, just going on this tangent, is that McCutcheon, in combination with Citizens United, I think a lot of people forget about McCutcheon, the case that was in tandem with Citizens United, allowed it so that some big donor, let's say a billionaire, can then give money to, let's say, Pete $2,800, Amy $2,800, Biden $20, the Democratic Party however much money, and this is the aggregate limit is exceeding at such a great amount. The aggregate limit is gone with McCutcheon, so then you can effectively run a campaign like in kind of a back channel to stop another candidate, let's say Bernie Sanders or any policies that you don't like. So we need to talk about that. We need to talk about how Pete, while not having a super PAC, is bundling these big donors from wine caves. But to sum up what I'm saying and to be succinct about it, we want to do 3 things. We need to point out that you are not just allowing these people in, you are courting them. That's a problem. Number 2, the Citizens United logic is not coherent with your repealing Citizens United is not coherent with your current position. So point that out, point that inconsistency out. And third, and I think most importantly, you point out that you have made $25 million in 1 month, that you do not need these donors. You are making all of this money because of the grassroots momentum that you're getting and from the energy that you are building in your campaign, and that you do not need these billionaire donors. You do not need to grovel to them, and that if any other candidate believes that they cannot raise the amount of money like you are raising with your grassroots funding, then maybe that's a sign that they are not poised or positioned to beat Donald Trump, and that you are positioned. So those are my 3 points. I want to make this video quick, and I think that's how Bernie Sanders should rebuff this inclusive argument that is built on the throne of lies, put forth by Pete Buttigieg, and I think that would be a lot better, because I mean, frankly, I love Bernie Sanders, but I think commonly what happens in debates is he gets too stuck in a stump speech, and he goes too broad, and he doesn't attack aggressively, precisely, concisely, and swiftly attack these points. So I think if Bernie could hone in on this concision, on these attacks, narrow it down, that'd be wonderful. Those are the 3 things that I think Bernie Sanders should do. Thank you for tuning in. I might have more content coming today. But I'm for sure going to have some coming within the next week. So I'll be looking forward to that. It was great doing this episode. See you guys later.